and thanks for joining us to talk about this really universal issue that if you have students that have gone to school at all, that you've probably had for at least one night in your family. We call it the homework monster. We have a lot of information to give you to talk about how to eliminate the homework monster out of your life completely. So you need to grab a pencil and a paper and get ready to take some notes, because today you're going to be the student to try to eliminate the homework monster from your home. On behalf of the Victory Garden Kids family, I want to thank you for joining us. Jeff and I have been working for over 15 years on this topic and many other topics that we hope are beneficial to you to help grow your family, grow your relationships, and we hope this video is helpful for you in building confidence with your kids and peace in your home. So today we want to show you how to eliminate the homework monster and get closer to growing even a relationship during homework time, and we want to do that in 3 easy steps. I want to show you the typical model that we feel like happens in most homes. It happened in our home for quite a long time, and then we want to show you our successful model that we made over here. So the typical model usually starts where the parent says, okay, time to do your homework, and the kid reluctantly grabs their backpack and stomps into wherever they're going to do their homework, maybe in front of the TV, maybe they put their headphones on, maybe they pick up their cell phone and do their homework with one hand while they're cell phoning with the other hand, while they're texting with the other hand. Like my husband says, clap-trapping, snap-shapting with the other hand. Or maybe you have a specific homework spot, they go there and then they do their homework. That's usually step 1. Step 2 usually comes next, where the parent walks in and says, get off your phone, turn that TV off. We have things to do. Why are you doing your homework with talking to your friends? Or they'll say, good job, you're doing your homework great. Step 3 is kid closes the book, puts it in the backpack, and there's usually a sigh of relief by all, or there's a sigh of frustration by all. This is a pretty typical model of how homework time goes, especially if it's a hard topic that the student is struggling in or they don't feel completely adequate in. There are always other reasons to distract them so that they don't have to feel the frustration. So our success model, the homework time doesn't actually start until step 2. We don't want this step to happen until we've prepared. And there are many things that you can do as a parent and as a family to prepare ahead of time. Sleep and nutrition is one we're going to talk about. Communication and routine. We're going to talk about all of those. Once the preparation is made, and we'll get into detail in just a minute about that, so good thing you have pen and paper. Step 2 is the homework time, where the child can dive into their homework and you're there nearby for support. I have 5 positive techniques that I'm going to share with you to talk about things that you can do depending on your child's reaction to the homework. I want to talk about the 5 L's for the parent and the 5 E's from the student. And I'll just go over those very quickly. The 5 L's from the parent are leadership, listening, love, learning, and longevity. Leadership is obvious. Be a leader, and your children will thrive in that leadership. They flail a bit when they're going down a road and they don't know where the boundaries are. If you give them the boundaries, they can have ups and downs, but they'll stay on the road. Listening is a really important one. It's about not dominating your child. It's about listening to what they have to say without talking over the top of them and without them feeling like you're just listening just so you can talk. And I do that all the time. And I know my kids would be nodding their heads that yes, I do. But it's very important that we listen to what they have to say because we value them and what they have to say is important. Love is an obvious one. You love them and that's the filter that you put everything through. Learning. As parents, we should always be a student. If there are ways that we can academically learn what our children are going through so that we can help them more, if there are techniques that we can learn, if we can learn from our children's reactions, that's a way also that we can grow. Longevity is about consistency. The more we do things routinely, the more that we do what we say, our children will thrive. They will know what to expect, and therefore they know what we expect of them. So those are the 5 L's for the parent. The 5 E's from the student are effort. They need to try. They need to bring the try to the table. Excellence. If we don't ask for excellence, our kids won't know that we believe they can have excellence. So we need to ask for it so that then they know that they should bring it and that they can do it. Energy, I call it kapower. I like my students to bring the kapow to the table, and it shows their power, so I just called it kapower. I make up a lot of words, my students and my kids know that and kind of groan and expect it from me, but I like kapower. The more energy they bring to the table, the more energy goes into their work, and the faster they'll finish and the more they'll learn because they bring a good attitude with that kapower. Expectation. This is about setting the bar high. Not only should we expect them to set the bar high, but we should teach them how to set the bar high. They are going to jump where the bar is. So if we teach them to set the bar here, they're going to jump that high. If we believe in them and we teach them to believe in themselves and set the bar here, that's where they're going to jump. And then the last E is elevation, and this is actually about a mindset of abundance, a mindset of joy, a mindset of extraordinary geniuses that they are. Our children are not mediocre creatures. They are spectacular, and we need to teach them to know it and to bring that. And if they come with a mindset of joy and a mindset of intelligence and a mindset of the geniuses that they are, it changes the game. They behave in that way, and they act accordingly. So those are the 5 L's and the 5 E's. And then, after all the homework time is done, we're done, right? Close the book, put it in the backpack, walk out the door. We can go to dinner, we can go to our friends. No, we have to follow up. And we need to reward our children every single time they try. It's not even just if they behave well or if they finish their homework. Their homework is not about the grade. Their homework and their effort is about the heart. And we need to praise them. There's lots of different kinds of reward. We can do a physical reward, we can do a monetary reward, we can do lots of rewards, but most importantly is that we praise. And we need to evaluate both with the child and separately from the child as we see the model working or not working. We need to talk with our children about it, we need to communicate about it, and you need to talk with your co-parent. You need to talk with them about how that went and evaluate it so that you can do better and raise your own bar every time. Okay, so let's quickly talk about step 1, the preparation process. There are 6 things I want you to think about with the preparation process. Number 1 is sleep. Your child, and you honestly, the more sleep you get, the more joyful you are the next day, the more able you're able to greet the day with excitement and calm and peace. But your child needs to get sleep the night before. For elementary students, I recommend 10 to 12 hours of sleep. This is something that we've studied quite a bit. This is what the experts say, 10 to 12 hours of sleep. Your junior high and teenagers, 9 to 10 hours. But the thing that I'm most concerned about is that 80%, they say 80% of our children are getting less than 7 hours of sleep at night. And some of that is because they're texting after they're in bed. Some of it's because they're sitting up doing homework till late into the night. Our sleep is just really thrown off because of TV, because of all these other issues. We need to make sure that we get into the routine of our kids getting enough sleep every night. The second thing I really want you to think about is nutrition. Our children need to have their brains fueled for success. So if they have good energy from the fuel that they eat, if they eat lots of green vegetables, and I mean, you know how to feed your kids right. I'm just saying that it needs to be based on the success that you get from your homework time is based on the nutrition that they eat. So make sure that we're doing that. Number 3 is actually about the mindset of you as a leader. We need to come into the homework scenario as a joyful leader. We need to set the tone for our children to just think that they are amazing, as I talked about earlier. We set that tone. If we come in with all of our crankiness and with everything that's happened during the day that we're frustrated about, they're going to feel it, and it's going to put a tone of frustration before we ever even start. So we need to prepare to be having a mindset of joy and power and strength. Number 4, we need to eliminate any chaos or stress before homework time happens. Sometimes this is just, there's too much going on. There's a TV in the background. Maybe some kids are bothered by the messiness around them. We need to feed off our kids, and if they feel like it's too messy, we need to make sure that they have a clean, quiet area. Maybe some kids thrive with music playing, so we need to make sure that we bring less stress by having music playing. So we need to address that. Number 5, we need to have preset rules and guidelines. We need to already have it preset so your child knows, can they listen to headphones? Can they do homework with friends while they're there? Where are they supposed to do their homework? Can they do homework in front of the TV? How does the family behave while homework is happening if they don't have homework? There are no set answers to these. You just have to have those preset according to what works for your family. And number 6, and I have to say that it's a pretty important one. They're all really important, but this is the most realistic problem that we have. Every day before school, just take 5 minutes and discuss what the day entails for your family. Do you have after-school activities? Is there hockey? Is there an acting class? Is there basketball? Is there a family dinner, a birthday party? And we need to set the day up around having time for homework. So we take all of those activities and we talk about it as a family and we make it work so that family and friends and activities can still be taken care of and still be done, but that homework is fit into that, so it's not just, smushed in between quick activities, so we're hurrying up and trying to get our homework done so we can go have fun. That sets us up for failure. So now we're into step 2, the actual homework time. And I'm really excited to teach our 5 techniques for positive and happy homework time. But first I need to talk to you about 4 easy rules that you have to follow as the parent before I can teach you the 5 techniques. If you follow these 4 rules, you will have the smoothest homework time that you've ever felt, and you'll just be so surprised. First of all, you can never argue with your child. Separate from homework time, we don't believe in arguing with our children. We think that that gives them power and authority over us and turns us into peers rather than we being the parent and them being the child. That doesn't mean you can't listen. We believe in discussion, but we don't believe in ever arguing. So first rule during homework time, don't argue, only discuss. Second of all, you can never take personally frustration that your kid offers to you. No matter what they say, you'll handle it in the way that's appropriate for your disciplinary procedures if they say something inappropriate or hurtful, but you can't take it personally. They're kids. They say things to try to get out of homework, especially if they're feeling like they are overwhelmed, or sometimes they feel stupid, like they don't know how to do it, and they lash out. You can never take this personally. We do get frustrated, we are human, and I encourage you, if you do feel that frustration, that you need to go take a breather, you need to step away. However, when you do feel this, you can't throw in the towel and say, I got to get away for a second, I am leaving the room. That gives them the power. That's sort of an argument starting to happen. So a good way to leave the room would be to say, I need to go take care of something, I'll be right back, or just be blunt about it and say, what you said was not okay, and I want you to think about it for a minute. I'm going to walk away, and then when I come back, we're going to talk about what happened and how that's not going to happen again and what you can do next time when you're feeling frustrated. Number 3, you cannot be the doer. You must be the supporter. If you do your homework for your child, even if you're trying, I found myself sometimes that I'll be showing my child how to do something on the homework, and I'll look down in the paper and it's all my writing and it was a math problem. So I took over. You can't take over, you have to be the supporter. The best leaders teach how to do. They don't do it for the child. So make sure that you're doing that. The other reason, it isn't just about having the kid do their own homework so that the teacher's not mad or so that they say they did it. We need to teach our kids that they can. And if we do it for them, we're teaching that we don't think they have ability to do it themselves because we're doing it for them. We need to teach them to be powerful. That's our whole point. We want to teach them to be self-motivated and self-accountable by doing the work themselves while we're there supporting them. And the last rule is don't bail your child out too soon. I know it's our nature to want to help, but we can't give up too soon. They're going to feel us giving up, and then they're going to start giving up too soon. There will be a time when you can see that maybe an assignment is too hard or it wasn't explained well enough, and then you can intervene. Maybe you can have some communication with the teacher, but let them struggle for a minute. Let them work through it. One of my favorite quotes, I tell it to my students all the time, is by Vince Lombardi. He said, "The man on top of the mountain didn't fall there." And really, we need to let our kids climb the mountain. We need to be right there with them. We need to be, on the Everest, the Sherpa, I think it's called. We can be a Sherpa, but we can't climb it for them. They need to climb it themselves. So those are the 4 rules, and now we can get to the fun techniques. Okay, start writing. 5 techniques to help during homework time. Number 1, we call it eating an elephant. If I say to my kids, how do you eat an elephant? They say 1 bite at a time. And that is from my genius husband, Jeff, who started that in our family before we ever had kids. It was the way that we conquered financial situations. It was how, if we had a big task, he would always just say, how do we eat an elephant? And I'd say, 1 bite at a time. until I really learned that that's the best way to do anything in life. So break things down with your child, work together, and even let them take the lead on that. How can you break down your homework so that you're doing little baby steps, and then you can praise and reward along the way until you find that there's nothing else to eat. And sorry for, eating an elephant, but we don't really eat an elephant. Number 2, I call 3 E's and an R. I do have a PDF attached to the end of this video so that you can print this all out or on there and explained for you. So 3 E's and an R. Enter, evaluate, exit, and repeat. So you don't have to sit right next to your child the whole time and hold their hand unless that's what they need, unless you decide that's what they need. But often I will be nearby in the vicinity and I'll enter their environment. I'll evaluate what type of help they need. Maybe it's just to get them back on track or pat them on the back or maybe help them with a problem. And then I'll exit and then I'll repeat that a lot. Maybe, your child will tell you how often. Younger kids, maybe every 4 or 5 minutes. Older kids, maybe every 7 or 8 minutes. Or maybe every 10 minutes or maybe twice during a whole homework thing. But keep it in mind that that's your job. During their homework time, your job is to be there and be available if they need you for support. Number 3 of the 5 techniques, I call it the sleep number method. I don't know what the numbers are. I don't have a sleep number bed, but it just makes me think of the commercial where there's like really firm number 1 and really hard number 10. It might be backwards, but whatever. On this side of the spectrum is kind of the helicopter hovering parent. And on this side of the spectrum is where the child is receiving no help at all. We need to make sure that we are on that spectrum where our child needs it. And that is our job, to evaluate every minute of the homework time so that we're giving them what they need. Number 4 is one of my favorites, actually. It's called parallel productivity, where you come to the table where the homework is being done and you do a task or a project of your own separately but side by side. So you're not sitting there hovering, but you're there if they need you, and you're able to be productive at the same time. The biggest part of this, though, is don't pick a project where you get frustrated if they need your help and they interrupt you. Don't do something that needs your full focus. Like, for instance, my kids know if I'm balancing the checkbook that the numbers start swirling in my head if I get interrupted. So if they see that I'm staring at the computer doing the checkbook, they know that that's not a time when, unless it's an emergency, to talk to me about it. So don't pick that kind of project. But basically, this is so you can provide autonomy for your student, but still being available. And then the last technique, there are many, many more, but these were just 5 of our favorites that we wanted to share with you. Number 5, we call the bounce back role reversal. So we kind of realized when our kids hit 7th, 8th, 9th grade that we didn't know everything that was in their homework, like especially math for me. I didn't know how to do their math anymore, but they needed help with it. So what we decided to do was we decided to bounce it back to them if they asked us a question, role reverse, have them be the teacher and have them try to teach us what their teacher said during the class that day by looking at their notes, by looking at the examples in the book, by looking it up on the internet, and they try to teach us, and by them trying to recall and teach us, they can get through their homework and still have us supporting them even though we don't know the information. Academically, we're still there emotionally. Okay, so we've made it through the homework time. And now, according to the typical model, we're done and we can walk away. But that's not how we do it, because our success model shows that you need to make sure that you follow up. So we're going to recap really quick. I know what I already said earlier, but you need to make sure that you praise often and you praise the heart, not necessarily the grade. Sometimes you'll study with your child for a test and they'll get a C on the test the next day, but you know that your child did the best that they could do. That is worthy of high praise, because it's not about the grade, it's about the heart. So if you see that your child is giving their very best effort, we need to make sure that we acknowledge that, even if the response by the teacher or on the report card isn't as, opportune or exciting as everybody thinks it should be. They did their best. So I also want to encourage you, regarding reward and praise, to do short-term, mid-term, and long-term. I know that some people like to give monetary reward, for instance, for certain grades on the report card. This can work well for some children. You have to make that decision within your home if that's something that you might like to do. But short-term rewards for day-by-day homework, mid-term rewards perhaps could be a great week. Like at our school, we can get an email. A parent gets an email if there was an assignment missed or a low grade if there weren't any of those during the week. or something more on the positive side even, that there were just really great homework nights through the whole week. You could reward for that. And then, of course, the long-term goal regarding grades, regarding attitude, and regarding behavior. And then the last step for post-homework time is regarding opportunity for growth. We need to evaluate our children's behavior, but we also need to evaluate our behavior and how that worked within the homework setting and within our relationship with each other during that time. You need to talk with your child about it, and you need to talk separately from your child, whether it's with your co-parent or someone that you really trust that you can run these things by, so that you both can grow and build your relationship further. So we made it through homework time. We made it through, hopefully without a struggle, hopefully without frustration. And even if there was, it's a learning process. And hopefully as you experience these and practice these and we grow, it gets to the point where you're both actually looking forward to homework time, because you have time to sit together and talk. And it's actually time where you know that without outside interruption, you're going to have that special time with each other. So I wanted to share with you a mantra that I always keep in my mind anytime, actually not just homework time, but with my students, with my kids, with anybody that I'm talking to. I try to say this mantra to make sure that I'm valuing them and that I'm telling them that I'm valuing them at all times. CDMP. CDMP. Caring instead of crushing, discipline instead of dominating, motivation instead of mediocrity, and patience instead of patronizing. If we can speak to our children and if we can speak to the people we care about, caring with discipline, with motivation, and with patience instead of crushing them, dominating them, allowing for mediocrity and showing mediocrity, and patronizing, then we build great relationships. How you react sets the tone for what happens within the circumstances of a relationship. A positive reaction brings empowerment, which brings success. A negative reaction can form a battlefield. Your child can close off and stop talking to you, which is a fail. And it doesn't mean by positive reaction, it doesn't mean that you have to agree with everything they say or just, be wimpy about it and just go, uh-huh. You don't have to do that. You can talk about it and really tell them how you feel, but your reaction of caring and positivity makes a difference for them. So thank you so much for spending this time with us. I know it was a lot of information. It is on the PDF for you to download and print out so that you can kind of go over everything that I've talked about. We would love it if you would check out our website, www.victorygardenkids.com. It's a blog where we talk about things that we're going through with our kids and that other people are going through, and fun stuff that we experience. We also are starting Google Hangout. We're going to have live chats on Monday nights, usually at 7, just talking about all different types of things that parents are going through and our clients are sharing with us. One of those Google Hangouts, I think they get recorded too, so you can listen to them after the fact, is about this homework time. People are asking questions about that, so that might help you too. And we would love it if in November you would go to Amazon. Our book will be published on Amazon. It's called Love Grows Here. It's called The 30-Day Journey to Empowering Your Child to Jump Confidently into Life and Discover Their Passions, Grow Their Strengths, and Fulfill Their Purpose. And so we're really excited to share those thoughts. We've been working on that book for about 20 years, and it's finally come to fruition. So we're really excited to share that with you. Thank you so much for joining us. We are looking so forward to being on this journey with you.